¿Qué onda? And welcome back to the channel. My name is David. It's been a while since I've done a POV street photography video, and there's a good reason for that. It's because I sold all my Fuji gear, and I ended up picking up a C70 because I've been booking a lot more paid like video gigs, like specifically wedding video, and I was able to justify the expense of a C70, and so yeah. But thankfully, I made most of that money back, so I decided to buy Neto's X-Pro3 off of him because he actually misses his X100V. So I bought the X-Pro3 with the 27mm WR, so it's the new one. And I absolutely love this combo for street photography. It is so small and discreet, and the best part is it fits in my sling bag, I guess more like a fanny pack or merce, but I just absolutely love having such a capable system on me. And now it's even more pocket friendly because, again, this is my only lens, and it could easily fit in a jacket pocket or a sling bag or something. So kind of just getting reacquainted with the Fuji system. It's been about, I think, 3 or 4 months since I last posted a POV video, and I haven't shot anything since then. Again, mostly because I've just been so busy with client work, and I kind of ended up going back to my day job as well because things are reopened. So, you know, that's kind of keeping me going, and now I have 2 forms of income streams coming in, which is good because I don't want to just put all my eggs in one basket. So yeah, things are getting back to normal, air quotes, for me a little bit. But anywho, but the X-Pro3 is actually a lot of fun. I used it back with when Neto actually, I think it picked it up initially. I borrowed it for a quick POV video with the 90mm, and I had a lot of fun. But now that I actually own it, and now that I'm putting it through its paces, that controversial screen that used to drive me insane, I think everybody on the internet groaned about it, it's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. It's actually quite useful because with such a small setup, you don't draw a lot of attention to yourself. So you're able to discreetly take photos. And I specifically like the flip down display just because I could actually like fire from the hip. As stupid as that sounds, it's actually quite handy, especially if you're kind of like walking through a crowd and you don't want to draw attention to yourself. You kind of just open up the screen and kind of like look down on it, and then just, you know, take your photo of choice. Just because if anything, it looks more like you're kind of fiddling with the camera or tweaking settings, so people tend to kind of ignore you, versus if you were to bring it up to your eye. But yeah, I mean, I quite enjoy it. I do miss being able to just quickly like put the camera out in front of me and take a photo, but I think this camera's kind of going to help me curb my chimping habit that I've developed over the years, especially more so because of mirrorless. But I don't know, like I just really enjoy using this camera, shooting through the viewfinder and using the display to shoot from the hip. Also, speaking of the viewfinder, I am really happy that they fixed the issue that I had with the X-Pro2 on the X-Pro3, which was no matter what I did in terms of settings, I could never get the EVF to look exactly the same way as the LCD panel on the back. So it made judging my exposure and colors and everything a little harder when shooting through the EVF on the X-Pro2 versus using the LCD. But thankfully with the X-Pro3, they fixed it. So both panels match each other quite well. And I know that if I'm shooting with the viewfinder or the LCD, what I see is what I'm going to get. And I kind of been playing a little bit more with the film simulations. I haven't really sat down to shoot a JPEG, and just because since I always shoot RAW, I could always add the film simulation back into the photo in post. Excuse me. And so I've been using one of my presets, and then I changed the color profile to the Fuji Eterna film simulation just to kind of play around with it, and I'm liking the results. It looks very much the same, just I don't know, there's just this kind of like softness or cinematic look to it, as cliche as that sound. But I'm really enjoying it and just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And I didn't really think I missed Fuji as much as I did after I sold everything. Like I don't know, like I really enjoy shooting with the system. And my friend Ethel brought up a good point. He says that our Canon setups, our Canon cameras, they're more for work. So with work and paid gigs, sometimes you get a little bit of stress because you have client deadlines to meet. You're, in the hot seat, you have to deliver. Or in the case of me shooting with weddings, like you only have one shot to get the shot essentially. So you have to really be on your toes when it comes to getting everything down to a T and to a science and getting it right. Whereas with Fuji, you just go out and take photos. You don't have to worry about like if the photo's blurry or like the composition's a little weird or anything like that. So it's very fun. It's very therapeutic, and a good way to relieve any type of stress, whether it be from my day job or from doing plenty of client gigs. So I think that's also partially why I missed it, because I had no means of shooting for myself. And even though I am happy, I am working with clients and getting paid. And I mean, I was able to buy a C70, and I'm super humbled that I was able to do that. But being able to shoot for yourself, I think, is just as important as, working hard and making money to continue to further your career. And for these two shots, I actually really cropped this one in. I've been kind of playing around with cropping a little bit more, especially because I really like the sensor in this camera. And even though I think I want to say it's like 2 megapixels more than the X-Pro2. I don't remember. But anywho, I've been playing around with cropping just because, since I only have the 27 millimeter, it's only about a 40 or 41 millimeter equivalent. I don't have a zoom or a tighter lens, so I kind of have to make do with what I have. So I have to get a little creative with my composition and, where my subject is. I kind of tend to shoot tight anyway, so 40 millimeters it's a nice sweet spot between 35, because that's a very typical street lens. So you still have that wideness that you would normally see with 35 millimeter, but you also have that little bit of tightness that you would get with the 50, but it's kind of like somewhere in the middle between the two. So it's kind of like a happy medium, or like a good compromise between the two lenses. So maybe I'll pick up a 35 millimeter again, or the 23, because of crop factors. And especially since Fuji just announced that new 23 1.4 with WR, it's very tempting, especially for the price point. And so is that new 35 millimeter 1.4. But I think I'm gonna chill for now with regards to buying, even though I think we all say that when you buy something, you're like, oh yeah, I think I'm good, I'm not gonna buy anything, and then like something else rolls around. That actually happened with me recently. I said I'm not gonna buy a new watch, and then I saw this watch from this company here in LA called Veyer, and this isn't sponsored by them or anything like that, but they make field watches, and I didn't have a field watch in my rotation, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick one up and try it out, and I actually really like it, and especially because it wasn't that expensive. And they're made here in LA, so it's even even cooler because it's my hometown. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like, yeah, you say you're not gonna do it, and then you find something, and you're like, oh, I really want this, but then you're like, oh crap, I don't want to spend money. Like when I bought the C70, I paid that cash, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that, but I saved up this money over the course of this past year, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. But it was a humbling experience buying it, but it also hurt because it's, with taxes and everything, and then I had to buy SD cards, the V90 cards, and then with tax and all, it came out to like about $6,000 and some change. So yeah, that hurt pretty bad, but you know, I'm happy I made that money back, so now I have a little like safety net. If anything happens, I have money to fall back on, so that's good. I guess if you guys were to take away one thing from this video, other than me rambling for about 10 minutes, save money, invest. You know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, because you never know when things might hit the fan, and you might have to rely on some money for kind of like a safety net or a cushion while you get back on your feet. So, anywho, this concludes today's short POV street photography video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, or not liked it, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up button. And if you disliked it, tap the thumbs down button twice. Trust me, it works. I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, be badass. Peace. Also, I promise I'll get better at speaking to the microphone again, because it's been a while. And if you guys actually hear a little bit of echoes, because I actually moved, I have a dedicated workspace now in one of my separate rooms here at home, and I'm still kind of getting things situated. So I'm probably gonna get some like moving blankets and like staple them to the wall for a little bit of you know, dampening, because I get a lot of reverb with these blank walls. Anyways, peace. Bye.